Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good start of your week and welcome back to our daily Clues by Sam. I'm interested in seeing what I do with the thumbnail today because it is Double Monday, which means we're gonna play the daily Clues by Sam, which is an easy one, and the hardest one from the bonus puzzles, which we get in the newsletter. So if you're not subscribed and you want to get bonus puzzles every week, then you can subscribe to the newsletter. And usually here on the channel, we only play the hardest ones. So if you want to see the other ones, you gotta get the newsletter. And yeah, it is an evil one this week. So very exciting. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily puzzle where there are 20 people and each of them must either be a criminal or an innocent, and you gotta figure that out using the clues that they might give you to help you. There is no guessing involved, so it's really good. We are gonna start right now, and I'm gonna explain my logic as I go so you can follow along. There is also a link in the description to both puzzles if you wanna test them out along with me. So let's start. Okay, today we start with Uma telling us that 2 of the 3 innocents in row 2 are Paula's neighbors. So Paula has 2 sorry. Paula has 2 people neighboring her in row 2, which means that both of them are innocents. And we need a third innocent in that row who needs to either be Ellie or Freya. Now, we don't need Uma's clue anymore. Isaac says that Freya is one of 3 criminals below Barb, so we know now that Freya is a criminal, which makes Ellie an innocent. Okay, I will be right back. I'm back, and I'm probably gonna have to stop again because of the dog, but let's continue. Ellie now says that exactly 2 of Mark's neighbors on the edges are innocents. So Mark has 3 people who neighbor him on the edges, and we already have 2 innocents, so that means that the third person is not an innocent. That's what the clue says. We don't need Ellie's clue now. Paula says that both criminals below Alex are connected. Wait a minute. There's 3 criminals below Barb, so we're gonna keep that in mind. Both criminals below Alex. So that means that among these 3 people, there has to be 2 criminals, which means that Ronald, the only one connected to any of the others, has to be one of those. And Katie and Vicky are opposites then, because there's only one more criminal. Ronald says there's an odd number of innocents in column B. Since we know there's 3 criminals below Barb, which means that there's 1 innocent, let's say that's Sam. That's 3 criminals, an odd number of criminals, and an odd number of innocents. So Barb couldn't be an innocent, because that would make 2 innocents in column B, and that's an even number. Told you I would have to stop. Back again, sorry. So as I was saying, 2 is an even number, and we can't have an even number of innocents in column B, so Barb couldn't be an innocent. Now, we don't know who is the innocent here, so we clear all the lower tags, and Barb says there are exactly 3 criminals in column A, so there's 2 here, right? Ronald is one of them. The second one is either gonna be Katie or Vicky. There's only one more person in that column, so that has to be the third criminal. Now, Alex says that there are exactly 2 innocents above Uma. Innocents. And above Uma, there's already 1 innocent, that's Isaac. The second one has to be Donald. Now, Donald says that each column has at least 2 criminals. So column D needs a second one, and it only has 1 more person, so that's Zara. Criminals. Zara says that exactly 1 innocent in column C is neighboring Freya. So where's Freya? Freya has 1 innocent already neighboring her in column C, that's Hope, so that means that any other person in column C that neighbors her is not an innocent, and now we have 2 criminals in column C, so we don't need Donald's clue anymore. Clyde tells us that there are more innocents in column A than column C, and we know there's 2 innocents in column A, Ellie and somebody else, so there couldn't be any other innocent than Hope in column C, so everybody else here is a criminal. And now Tina says there's an equal number of criminals in rows 1 and 4. Criminals. Rows. 3 criminals in row 1, so there has to be 3 criminals in row 4, and that makes Katie and Logan opposites. That it? How do we figure that out? Oh, there's 3 criminals below Barb. Does it help me with something? It doesn't feel like it. Not number of innocents in column B. 3 criminals below Barb. Am I falling short on an easy one? Don't need this one. There are exactly 3 criminals in column A. We figured that out. There are more instances in column A than column C. Don't need that. Each column has at least 2 criminals. All of them already do. Mark's neighbors. 2 of Mark's neighbors on the edges. We have figured that out. Freya is one of 3 criminals below Barb. Huh? Both criminals below Alex are connected. They are gonna be. And a number of innocents in column B. Only 1. An equal number of criminals in rows 1 and 4. Oh, 4. I was looking at row 3. Sorry. So we need a 3rd criminal in row 4, and it has to be Sam. Now, Logan and Wally are opposites. We know that. Because we need 1 innocent here in column C below Barb. Sam says there are 6 innocents on the edges total. So how many do we have already? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna have a 5th one who's either Katie or Vicky. So we need a 6th one who needs to be Wally. And that makes Logan a criminal, which makes Katie an innocent. Weren't they opposites? Did I tag them wrong because of my wrong reading the clue here? Did I do that? I'm an enemy to myself. Logan says that row 3 has more criminals than any other row. Okay, so we know that row 3 needs 4. If I have read the clue, I wouldn't have done the mistake. Oh my god. I can't believe I did that. That's funny. So learn from my mistakes. Don't do that. Read the clues and don't tag things that are not real. Okay? And that took 7 minutes because of my 2 stops. But we are gonna jump into the evil one now. And I promise you, I'll be way better at that. So, this is the evil one from March 30th. We are on March 30 today. And I'm gonna restart the time to get it right. And we are gonna start with Bonnie. Bonnie says that Megan is one of Rob's 4 criminal neighbors. Megan is a criminal. And Rob has 4 criminal neighbors. Why did Vera pop up? Oh, she didn't. Okay. Rob has 8 neighbors total, so half of them are criminal, half of them are innocent. Megan says that each column has at least 3 criminals. How is that gonna help me? It is indeed evil. We gotta think about Rob's neighbors because let's say that half of his neighbors are innocent, right? Let's say that in column D, everybody here was an innocent. A better example would be column B, I guess, because column B has an innocent already, and each column needs 3 criminals. If everybody neighboring Rob would be an innocent here, that would make column B completely wrong in terms of criminals. So we need at least 2 people here to be criminals so that column B has enough criminals to make 3, right? Same goes for column D, but only one of the people here need to be a criminal so that column D has enough people to make 3. So counting that off, that makes Rob have Vera as a criminal, right? So that he can make 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Megan is the 4th one. What? How does that go? Shock. Bombastic. So we have the least amount of criminals in each column neighboring Rob. But it could be that everybody here is a criminal. And if that's the case, it wouldn't work. Why would it not work? If everybody here is a criminal to make column B have 3 criminals here, it would make everybody here an innocent. Because Rob's 4 criminal neighbors are already done. And now there's not enough people to make 3 criminals in column D. So we can't have everybody here neighboring Rob being a criminal. What about everybody in column D being a criminal? That wouldn't work either, because now everybody here will be an innocent and there's not nearly enough people to make 3 criminals in column B. So that doesn't work. What if Vera were a criminal? If Vera were to be a criminal, that will put at most 1 criminal in each of the other columns. And that will make all of the criminals for Rob, right? Which doesn't work either because of what I just explained. In this configuration, there wouldn't be enough people in column B to make 3 criminals. And if the last criminal were in column B to make 3 criminals here, there wouldn't be enough people in column D. So Vera doesn't work being a criminal. I hope I made that clear. It was clear to me. I hope I could explain it clear enough. Vera says that exactly 2 of Lucy's 5 criminal neighbors also neighbor Eve. So Lucy has 8 neighbors total as well, and 5 of them are criminals, which means that 3 of them are innocent, so let's keep that in mind. And she shares 2 neighbors with Eve. So 2 of them have to be criminals, which means that both of them are. And we don't know about any of the innocents yet, but she shares 1 neighbor with Rob. Right? Penny. Oh, she shares Megan as well, and Megan is a criminal. Now, the thing is, it is severely evil, this puzzle. I love it. Let's see how this goes. We know that Rob has to have 2 criminals at least neighboring him here in column B, right? Because we need 2 more criminals in column B total. We need 2 more criminals in column C as well. And Lucy needs 3 instances neighboring her. I'm trying to make this work. It's very hard. We couldn't have 2 instances neighboring her here in column C, because there wouldn't be enough people to make 3 criminals in that column. Could we have 2 instances neighboring her in column A? I would say so, because Austin and Tina could both be criminals, and that will make 3 criminals in column A, so that would work. Could Penny be a criminal? And if Penny is a criminal, that forces these 2 to be innocents, right? Eve and Oscar, which is fine. If Penny is an innocent though, we know that at least Eve or Oscar need to be an innocent. And that will put an innocent here. in column C? Damn. Hard. Two of Lucy's 5 criminal neighbors also neighbor Eve, which is okay, we solved that, but we need to work on Lucy's 5 criminal neighbors, from which she already has 3, which means she needs 2 more criminal neighbors. And we know, do we know that one of those is not Penny? Because if Penny is a criminal, it works. It works. I don't know if it works with Penny being an innocent, but I guess it does because we could have 2 criminals here. Or we could have 2 criminals here. So it works. Does it work with... And it works with Penny being an innocent because we could have a criminal in whichever of these. The thing is that Lucy and Uma are opposites, I think. I'm feeling quite lost. Rob. Rob's gonna share somebody with Penny. Right? Not with Penny, but with Lucy. Sorry. Rob's gonna share somebody with Lucy. Could Rob have Penny as an innocent? And Lucy and Uma as criminals. That works for me. And if Penny were a criminal, then Lucy and Uma would have to be opposites because of the at least 3 in each column rule. Could Lucy and Uma both be criminals if Penny is a criminal? No, because we know that column D needs a criminal here. So they would have to be opposites if Penny were to be a criminal. Does that break anything for me? I don't think so. Could Lucy be an innocent? And if Lucy is an innocent, does that break anything for anybody else? I don't think so. Lucy is a criminal. This works. So, who are we looking at in this situation? Because can I look at Carl, for example, and if I look at him being an innocent, I know that these 2 guys need to be criminals, Gabe and Rob, if Carl is an innocent. And in that scenario, Lucy's 5 criminal neighbors are taken care of. So that will make everybody here innocent, right? And that will force Lucy and Uma to be criminals. Now, that will force Austin and Tina to be criminals, which is fine for everybody. If, on the other hand, and I'm not talking about column D because it doesn't affect anyone, if, on the other hand, Carl were to be a criminal, does it affect anybody? It makes Gabe and Rob opposites, but not necessarily, because both of them could be criminals still, because each column has at least 3 criminals. It doesn't have that. It doesn't mean that it has 3 criminals exactly. So that really doesn't do much. I guess we know that Eve and Oscar couldn't be both criminals, because that will break column C. Because that will force Gabe and Rob to be innocents. Do we know that both of them are not innocents? We don't. Do we know that they are opposites? Because if they are opposites, Gabe and Rob have to be opposites. Or do they not? If they are opposites, Gabe and Rob couldn't be opposites, couldn't be both innocents. So if they are opposites, Gabe and Rob are opposites. And why couldn't Gabe and Rob both be innocents? Because Carl and Megan, they could be. Carl and Megan will be the only criminals in column C. So yeah, that's right. It can't be. So even Oscar being opposites makes Gabe and Rob both opposites. That will make Penny innocent. So we can have 3 innocents neighboring Lucy. And we will make Austin and Tina opposites as well. So we can have 3 innocents in column A. And both Lucy and Uma criminals. So we can have 3 criminals in column B. And Carl criminal. So what's breaking here? What's breaking for me? I don't think I see it. I think we are at a point where we know that both Deborah and Ike are criminals, because we know that Rob's gonna have 2 criminals here neighboring him in column B. It doesn't matter what Penny is. Like, let me explain that from the beginning. It doesn't matter what Penny is. If Penny is an innocent, that forces Lucy and Uma to be criminals, right? So that column B could have 3 criminals, and that forces Rob to have a criminal here. And that's his last criminal neighbor, so that will force Ike and Deborah to be criminals, so we can have 3 criminals in column D. If Penny is a criminal, I'm trying to get there. If Penny is a criminal, Lucy needs a 3rd innocent, right? We couldn't have these 2 be innocents. But we know that we couldn't have all 3 of these guys to be criminals either, because Rob still needs 1 criminal here in column D. So if Penny is a criminal, there's 1 innocent here, who's either Uma or Lucy. And why is there an innocent here? Because Rob needs a criminal here. We couldn't have both Lucy and Uma be criminals along with Penny, even though column B would allow that. Column D needs a criminal anyway, at least 1. Could column D have 2 criminals here and both of these guys be innocents? No, because then there's not enough criminals in column B. So there's only 1 criminal neighboring Rob in column D for sure, which makes Ike and Deborah both criminals. That works, but it's hard, Deborah says that exactly 3 of the 8 criminals on the edges are Penny's neighbors. So Penny has 5 people neighboring her on the edges, and 3 of those are criminals. But there's 8 criminals on the edges. So she has 2 more criminals here, besides John, who neighbor her on the edges. Let's say that Oscar and Tina are those. We need a 3rd criminal here on the edge neighboring Rob. So we're just simulating a scenario here so we can have the total count. So that's 1, 2, 3 criminals. 4, 5 with the 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the ones that neighbor Penny. So we need 2 more, which means Eve, Austin, and Carl have 2 more criminals among them. Could we make Oscar and Tina both criminals and Uma an innocent? And if that were the case, Eve would have to be an innocent, right? Because we can't have both Gabe and Rob be innocents. But Gabe and Rob... Oh, it doesn't work, actually. Because now Lucy doesn't have enough innocents neighboring her. We can't have both Gabe and Rob be innocents. And how many criminals do we have on the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, but this doesn't work. So what I'm seeing, I suppose, is that Oscar and Tina are opposites because they can't both be criminals. And that makes Uma an innocent. That makes Uma a criminal, sorry. Oscar and Tina can't both be criminals. Of course, they can't both be innocents because that will leave Penny with not enough criminals neighboring her on the edges. So Uma has to be a criminal and Oscar and Tina have to be opposites. I hope that made sense. And Oscar and Tina being opposites makes us know about something. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 criminal neighbors here. Criminal neighbors, criminal people. Either Austin or Carl. If Carl, let's go, let's simulate all the way up. If Carl is an innocent, that makes both Austin and Eve criminals. Because we still need 2 criminals on the edges to total 8. And we would make both Gabe and Rob criminals because we need 3 criminals in column C. Now, there's no way Lucy can have 3 innocents in this configuration, so there's no way that Carl is an innocent. That was pretty easy to get to, given all of the madness that's going on. But that makes Austin and Eve opposites, right? Because of the 8 on the edge thing. And Carl says that exactly 1 criminal in row 4 is neighboring Tina. So where's Tina? Tina has 2 people neighboring her in row 4. One of those is a criminal, the other one is an innocent. So they are opposites, which makes Lucy have 1 innocent here. She needs 2 more. Let's say that Oscar is a criminal and Penny is an innocent. Now, we know that we can't have both Gabe and Rob be innocents. So and Oscar being a criminal makes Eve. Oh, it doesn't make Eve an innocent. But it will make Eve an innocent because Gabe and Rob couldn't both be innocents. So Austin is a criminal and Tina is an innocent. These guys are opposites. if it were the other way, if Oscar is an innocent, that makes Penny a criminal. And in any case, we can't have both of these guys be innocents to total 3, so Eve is always an innocent. So that Lucy can have her 3. And that makes Austin a criminal. We don't know what these guys are, but we know that Gabe and Rob are opposites because of Oscar and Penny. I'm going mad with this. Eve says there are more criminals in row 1 than row 5. And there's 3 criminals in row 5. In row 1, sorry. So that means that row 5 can have at most 2. Austin says that Salil has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. Where's Salil? Salil has 1 innocent neighbor already. Rob could be one of the innocents. How do I work that out? We know there's an innocent here, so Lucy and Penny are opposites. Does that help me out with something? Oscar and Penny are opposites. I don't know. There are more criminals in row 1 than row 5, so Tina and Xavier are opposites. I guess we can work that out with the 8 people on the edge thing, maybe. Because there's 1 innocent here. So let me count the criminals on the edges. There's 3 here, so 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't work. Oh, it does. There's only 1 criminal neighboring Rob in column D. It's the opposite of what I was thinking. So, yeah. If we make Tina an innocent, that makes Oscar a criminal, which makes Penny an innocent. But Tina being an innocent, Xavier could still be an innocent. But that will make both Noah and Rob criminals because Salil has 2 innocent neighbors. And Salil will be an innocent. Because Rob has 1 criminal neighboring him in column D. So are we sure that Rob is always a criminal? Is this where we're getting? Because if Tina is a criminal, that makes Oscar an innocent, which makes Penny a criminal. But Tina being a criminal makes Xavier an innocent for sure. I'm not sure where I'm going. Wait a minute. Can we make Rob an innocent? If Rob is an innocent, that breaks because now Salil has 2 innocent neighbors and both Noah and Xavier would have to be innocent. And or both Noah and Xavier would have to be, yeah, both Noah and Xavier would have to be criminals because of Salil. And now Rob has more criminals than he should in column D, so it doesn't work Rob being an innocent, which makes Gabe an innocent. Oh, Rob's saying that Tina is a criminal straight up, so Tina is a criminal, which makes Oscar an innocent, and that makes Penny a criminal. Wow, this is tough. And now we know that Lucy is an innocent. What else? Oh, there's 2 criminals in row 5 here, and row 1 has more than that, so we need to make Xavier an innocent. So that's the 2nd innocent for Salil, which makes Noah a criminal, and that's the last criminal for Rob, so that makes Salil an innocent. Tough. Really, really tough. I love it. Half an hour, that's a lot. But it was so good. Very tough. I like it. I love that I get all green on the evil one when I got a yellow on the easy one and took so long. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this here for today. Let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you tomorrow for more Clues by Sam. So bye bye.